Have you ever met someone and just knew that they were meant to make massive impact on the world? Well, I had that experience with this woman that you are about to experience. I'm so excited. Lolita Walker truly is a woman of high integrity with voice, integrity with presence. She cares about you. She trains in every aspect of leadership, whether it's public or corporate, overall human connection and leadership. And right now, she's even studying to get her doctorate so she can expand and deepen her wisdom to serve the world even more. She focuses on entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship. I didn't even know what that meant. She has educated me so much in this 35-minute experience, and she's going to not only educate you, she is going to deepen your self-awareness, inspire you to think about who you are and what it is that you want. I'm telling you, this is a very special woman and a very special conversation. So I invite you to listen to the end and then share it with anyone that you feel needs this message. This is such a great dose of inspiration. I'm grateful and I'm so excited to share Lolita with you now. Welcome to the Wisdom from Within podcast. My name is Jen Axe, and I am your host. This is where mindset meets body set, where we access both so that we can make the most genuine, authentic, empowered impact on those we love and those we serve. Let's get started. So this podcast, the intention behind it is to really help people awaken to the fact that the body has so much intelligence, not just to feel, but to actually rely on as an asset for them in their life when they're making decisions, both personally and professionally. And someone like you who has such high integrity. I know this because we met in Clubhouse years ago. I watched you lead. I watched you hold space. And I didn't only watch, I really felt it. And I felt your impact tremendously. And then I had the honor to get to know you and to know the work that you do and to feel in all the people that feel the same way I do about you. And then to come and do a workshop and all the things.
Yes.
You are someone that I have looked to that really understands and leads with this embodied wisdom in everything that you do. And you're so welcome. So first of all, thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely. I received that. Thank you.
Good. Take it because you really deserve it. You are brilliant. And I would love for you to share what is your connection to embodied wisdom, embodied leadership as someone who is a strategist for corporate and for entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs, which we want to talk about and break that down.
Yes.
Talk to me about the importance of this embodied piece for you.
Yeah, it's been such a journey. I don't think we wake up and we're there. I think it's experiences, it's with folks that you have, like I say, on your change train. I think it's who your board of directors are that you have around you. I think this embodiment is really self discovery. I think it's self confidence. I think it is knowing, trusting, believing that you stand on a grounded foundation. For mine is faith. And I believe if you can name those things, then you can always come back to a center. So even when I get frazzled, which I do, even when I get frustrated, which I do, even when fear and, anxiety and stress want to overcome me, it's really being able to take those moments, and that embodiment is knowing that you're centered in the truth of who it is that you are. And sometimes that means exercises like writing down your most recent accomplishments or your small wins board, or those things that remind you of who that girl is. Like, who am I and who have I been to many other people? And that's just so important.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. How do you get people there? Like how do you get people to even understand who they are?
Yeah, that's such a great question. In my work, what I do, I think very similar to you, is we start with the grounding of who it is that you are. And a lot of people are like, I don't know who I am. And then we start with, well, tell me a little bit about yourself. And when folks usually, when they tell you about themselves, they start with titles. And then you just say, hey, I get that you hold all of these titles, but tell me what makes you that title. Like, tell me some characteristics about yourself that
Mm,
gets you to that title, that makes you amazing. Because what we want to do is kind of strip ourselves of the title because we're so much more than that. We're beyond that. We're
mm,
that title because of who it is that we are, because
mm,
of who we are when we came to that table. So we can peel that onion back just a little bit and talk about what skill sets do you have, what characteristics do you possess, and people struggle with that. So then we do the exercise of, you know what, why don't you take the time this week to ask 5 people, how would they describe you? Like, what characteristics do you possess?
mm,
I don't want to know if you believe them. I want to
mhm,
know what they say that they are. And then let's come back. And what you hear is people coming back and saying confidence or strength, or I'm organized,
right.
or I listen more than I speak, those things. And then now let's start building who it is that you are, because you're already those things. And how do you know? Because you've already shown up in those ways.
Mhm. Mhm. Oh my gosh, I love that. So how do you see this being a direct impact or a direct what's the direct correlation to leadership, like effective leadership? Yeah,
I think, really what's important is once you can understand what you bring to the table, then
right.
your leadership just blossoms. Why?
Mhm.
Because imagine you're building this home, which is you. And as you're building it, the bricks, you start building with bricks because you start knowing who it is that you are. You
Mhm.
start talking in that, you start affirming in that, you start showing up in that, because now I believe it. Now I know it because you didn't just say I'm a self-starter. You told me how you saw that. So now I'm starting to remember that I've done those things. I've come through, I've come through the trials and the tribulations that I'm feeling right now. I've been there before and I'm still standing right here. So the more you can affirm yourself, and when you stand up in those things, then you can become this leader that people want to follow, because when you walk in a room, you bring that presence with you. When
Yeah.
you walk in a room, you bring all of those things in your toolbox with you. So
Mm,
who else to be that best person except for you? And that's how that leadership starts.
mm. I love that so much. That's so powerful. It's making me think about um, emotional intelligence and the
Mhm.
pillars of emotional intelligence, and how the first one is that self-awareness, which is what you're talking about. Like, who am I? How would people describe me? How do I see myself? Then there's self-regulation. But the third one is presence. Like, that's such a big piece of that emotional component of that intelligence from within, to be able to be present. Like, how do you see that relating to, I mean, you spoke about it a little bit, but I think presence is so important in relation to holding space for other people, like you did and continue to do. So
Mhm.
what is your relationship to that, and how do you teach that?
hmm it's interesting. So I teach organizational behavior at the collegiate level, and I teach juniors and seniors. And oftentimes I have them do this exercise of this bio resume, and it's really only pictures and quotes or phrases that describe you when nobody else is looking. So when I get that, I should be able to know who it is that you are. And I do that exercise because I want them to be able to, one, articulate themselves and who it is that they are, because most people feel uncomfortable. They feel like they're bragging, but it's the reality of who it is that you are. Two, it helps them with being present in the moment. It helps them it's a reminder to them of, I am that girl. This is where I want to go. Why not me? Why can't I do what I'm hearing these other 34 scholars say? Like, I'm also hearing and
Mm,
seeing how other people are embodied by greatness. And so now you're increasing your confidence. You're thinking about innovation and creativity. You're wondering what's preventing me from day trading. You know, there's a person that's a chef. There's a person that has their own business. There's somebody that has desires to own their own company. There's a baker that's there. It's cosmetologist, whatever it is that you're doing inside of that moment, it helps you to recognize that I can stand in my full confidence of who it is I am, knowing that I'm still becoming who it is that I know is on the other side of this thing. And I think
mm,
that that helps you with your presence. That
mm.
helps you. It's practice. It's
Yeah.
practice, it's knowing, it's trusting, it's believing, it's standing on a foundation of faith. And I say it's practice because affirmation is important, your skill set is important, knowing what you're talking about is important, seeking help and knowing that you're not doing it by yourself is important. The
Mhm,
people you have around you are important, not the yes people, not the people that's always hating on you, but the people that also have your best interest in mind. Like they want to see you win.
mm.
Those are the people that help you with your presence because you're forever helping them and they're forever helping you. So when your cup is low, then they fill you up and it's
Mhm.
not a problem.
Mm. I love that. Do you find working with juniors and seniors, do you find that the SAT scores, it wasn't so long before that they took them. Do you feel like that impacted their worthiness, their sense of who they are in the world, their form of intelligence? Like, does it impact their self esteem at all? Do you see that coming through?
I think testing of anytime you are in a position where you're judging always or assessing can always have an impact
Hmm.
on your confidence level
Hmm.
because you start feeling, am I worthy? Um, why didn't I do that? Is it my surrounding? Is it just that I don't test well? There's so many different factors that go into testing, assessing, judgment. So a short answer is absolutely. But I think the longer term is when I get these scholars, they're juniors and seniors about to graduate from college. And so they're in a space where SATs are over, they're getting judged in a different type of way. They're
Right.
getting judged by A's through F's in college
Yeah.
and they're showing up differently.
Yeah.
Even the ones that might be failing my class, they know why. They
Mm,
can make a choice in the class. I give
right.
them every opportunity to. This is the time where even my son who is about to graduate from the 8th grade, it is if you're struggling in a class, then go talk to the teacher because you're not on this journey by yourself and they have to know. So it's a lot of different things. I think, yes, it can decrease folks' confidence all the time when you get judged. But that's why you got to be standing on a foundation of knowing who it is you are.
That's exactly right. I love this so much because the reason I brought up, I know that you're working with the college student.
Hmm.
For me, that was my struggle. It impacted me. It took me through my 20s until I
Yeah.
was 29 years old. And then I found the work of Howard Gardner, a professor at Harvard, who awoke me to the multiple forms of intelligence. And that put me on a path of healing and also helping other people heal and feel empowered to know that being intelligent is way more than test scores. So I was curious, as
Hmm.
someone who's holding the space, if you probably don't go that far back because it was like 4 years prior or whatever, 3 years prior, but sometimes people carry these stories with them. And to your point, sounds like you agree that these standardized tests or any test taking environment can feel like they're being measured or judged in some way.
Absolutely. And it's interesting that you say that because I do remember when I went to college and I was applying for colleges. And my essay literally was about why they shouldn't consider my SAT scores. And I don't remember all the details, but I do remember I did it in the form of a baseball game and three strikes and you're out. And I remember saying something to the effect of, don't allow this SAT scores to be why I'm not able to excel inside of your environment. And I remember writing that because my SAT scores didn't match my grades, which I knew didn't match the type of person that I was and how I was going to show up in their engineering program. And I always say that that's the essay that took me over the edge, because I didn't want them only to look at my SAT scores because I didn't do well on my SATs. And I had taken, my parents invested in classes for my SAT. I was after school practicing. I just didn't test well, and it just was too much.
No, I know exactly what you're saying. And the more I talk about this, I can't tell you how many people raise their hand and are like, me too,
Yeah.
because it makes that imprint. But good for you for
Mhm.
advocating for yourself and actually calling it out and saying, don't measure me. I'm much more than this. Do you think that had an impact on the way you go in and the way you inquire with your students? Like that whole who am I? Like the whole person, who am I?
I do, because what I notice even in junior and senior mode in college is people are just unsure. I mean, let's not even talk about what's happening in the world right now, and you not even knowing what type of job you're going to have, if there's a job. AI that might be taking over what your major was that you decided to invest in for the last couple of years. There's so many different things. So in my class, although I teach organizational behavior, I remind them that they are a whole person. So we do a lot of presentations so that they can get really familiar with speaking out loud. We do a lot of group work so they can get familiar with working with people and how you navigate when attitudes and personalities clash. We talk a lot about, ethics and how they turn in their work. What do they do in order to turn in their work? All of those things really mount up to be who it is that you are. We talk about integrity. We talk about performance. We talk about different people's motive communication and how you deal with different people. And then I want them to feel comfortable when they go in a room, because I remember tonight is when they take their final in class tonight. But last week, I remember talking to them about how I would come back to this school where I teach and really talk to them about how to get through a behavioral based interview, because I was starting to see that people were struggling in those behavioral based interviews, which are, tell me about a time when. And if
Mm,
you can't pass that, then you're not able to pass a whole lot of things. You can't even get to the table to get the job.
mm,
And that there is a bit of confidence as well,
yeah.
right? You have to know what the situation is, how you um were able to act inside of that, how you were able to resolve it. Like, what did you do in that? And if you're not comfortable in talking about yourself outside of the we, then you're gonna struggle. So I use a lot of time to your question on building that confidence, because you gotta be able to talk to that in any environment, wherever you go.
That is the work you're doing is so incredibly important. Do you find that there are other institutions focusing as much as you are?
It's interesting. I don't know that the institution is focusing. I know
Right.
that within
Yeah.
my course of organizational behavior that I am, because of the experiences that I've had and also the work that I do.
Yeah.
So I know that it's important that when they leave there, what type of things that they have, and they thank me for that.
Yeah.
Um the other classes, which are the same book, we use the same book. Teachers just teach differently, and so I use this approach because the work that I do within coaching, within consulting, within leadership, within strategy, even in my political career, as you're meeting different people, listening intently. And when you can see it, just like you, when you can see the emotions that people are wearing on the outside, you want to dig in a little bit, and then you want to help them to navigate so that they can be the best version of themselves. And it really is about, what do you want for this class? Or what do you want for the folks or your clients? What do you want for your employees? What do you want from this, or for this friend that is inside of your circle? And if you have good intentions on what you want for them, if you want to see them win, then you're not going to have any problems. You're going to, of course, help them and give.
Right.
But I think as the giver, and you probably experienced this too, you take on a lot because you also receive all of those emotions too, that you kind of got to wash away and do grounding like you did before we even got started today to settle yourself. So we
Mhm.
got to do that too. I think that's the flip side.
Yeah, and also everything you're saying about what you want for your employees, what you want for your community, what you want, it all comes back to that question that you mentioned, which is who am I? Because you can't possibly
Mhm.
be successful for other people or help other people until you really answer your own question, right? You mentioned your story. You mentioned that this is the work you're doing and the lens that you've chosen to walk through and lead with because of your story. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, my story is one. I mean, I have so many different chapters inside of my story.
I know.
I don't know where to start.
It's beautiful.
But
Well,
uh,
related to, yeah, go ahead. You could just start intuitively, but it's really like, how did you become so aware of the importance and the significance of this through your own path? And I would imagine
yeah,
there was some struggle there. Yeah.
yeah. So in 2017, I wrote my first book. And that book, The Intersection of You and Change, was really as a result of so much change I was going through. I had gotten a divorce. My dad passed away. I had a newborn son who was premature. I just said no and left my amazing corporate job. It was all of these changes that were happening at once, realizing that, oh, shoot, I don't have an income coming in. What am I going to do? All of those things at once can really drive you crazy. And instead, I don't know where the strength comes. I really want to say that it's nothing short of God, to be honest with you. I had a God moment during that time.
Mhm.
And I remember just journaling, and I'm just writing and journaling. And in that came the book. And it takes you through 17 stops of self discovery. And it takes you through, like Journey Junction or communication cul-de-sac, all of these things. And they were all little pockets that happened in my life, scenarios. And while I don't tell the ending of any one of those, I do ask you questions to help you on your own journey. And I think that as I was writing that, I was releasing.
Mm.
Um, and I wanted to help other people to release. But how did that come about? It's so interesting because now that I'm really thinking back, I remember after I left my job and I still lived in Baltimore, people would come to me because at the time people were getting laid off, and people would come to me and say, how are you not going crazy right now? And they would come and they would ask different questions, and I would help them on this journey. And I just started journaling, and that's how my company came about. That's how the book came about. And after that, I think it's word of mouth and you living in that truth of who you are.
Mhm.
And then Clubhouse came, the pandemic came,
Yep.
we met, strangers, just being able to reinvigorate some things in you. I hadn't written poetry for years, since I was a child. And on that app where I didn't know people, I went into a poetry room and I'm listening, and I was just so reminded of, like, oh, it was inspired. And I started writing. And then I started saying. Then I started writing more. Next thing you know, I have a book of 44 letters and poems. It's just when you are around people who are creative and this something happens in you, you got to follow that in you moment. You got to follow that bubbling up, that gut feeling, that heart feeling, and just go with it.
Oh, I could just listen to you speak forever. You're so
Thanks.
eloquent and beautiful. What I love about that whole journey is that you listen to your body the whole way through, from the
Mhm.
beginning, from that big moment and chapter. Holy shit, it's not even a moment, it's a chapter of all these things coming together at one time. And you chose, your body said, right.
Yeah.
And you did. And
Yeah.
and you allowed, because you were open, you received the message to write.
Yeah.
That inspiration, that in spirit, right? It's like
Mhm.
you were able to receive that. That is so beautiful. You mentioned the company. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, Walker and Walker Enterprises is it's really a personal and professional coaching and consultancy. It's leadership strategy. It's really taking you to whatever that next level is. So I work with people, I work with organizations, and when I work with people individually or groups, it's that personal and professional coaching. It's that executive coaching. When I work with organizations, it's really around strategy. It's around helping you to organize your mind, your vision, your mission, and how to get folks within your organization on the same page to lead you to that vision, because the vision and execution of it absolutely gets to performance and net results.
Mm. I love that. Now you're doing that. You still have that's sort of the umbrella of all of the work, including the teaching, including the
Yep,
coaching. It's all sits underneath that. It's so beautiful when we can allow our journeys of our life to inform the work that we
isn't
do,
it? It
right?
is.
Do you
It
are
is.
do you feel aligned all the time, or do you feel
Mm-mm.
off sometimes? And when you does life throw you? And when it does, how do you get back on track?
Oh my gosh, all the time. Life throws me all the time. And, it's not always easy. You and I are human just like everybody else. And there'll be days where I don't want to get up. There'll be days where I'll be crying and like, what is happening? The world is about to end right here with me in it. The world is upside down. What am I going to do? And to be honest with you, some of the things I do is listen back to some of my own podcasts, honestly, because those were times where I might have been extremely motivated and I can motivate myself. I'll walk, get the energy out. I'll write. I'm also, as you know, a doctoral student in this moment. And so there's not a lot of time to be as creative as I used to be because time is kind of limited in this phase in my life. But what I've recognized is that when I'm down, there's always something to pick me up. So,
Mm,
what I know about myself is that I love watering trees. What I love about myself is that what I know about myself, love it too, is that gospel music and spa radio can absolutely get me back in my mindset. Now, I might have some tears, but it reminds me that you have stuff you need to do. And then what I was telling you before is sometimes you have to get in the mirror and affirm yourself. Sometimes you have to talk about what were my last 5 accomplishments. Sometimes you have to talk about, what are the things that people said I was great at for the last 5 days, you know? And if there's no one in your life that has told you something good in the last 5 days, I challenge you to find some new people to be around. If
mhm,
no one has said thank you for something in the last week, then I challenge you to really get around others or get yourself out to be around others to impact differently.
mm,
And it doesn't even have to be something that's major, something that's life changing, but sometimes it's the words that you say that impacts someone else.
mhm,
Sometimes it's a thank you. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for bringing my trash can in. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for saying those words. Or it could be something so small, but it's
mhm.
those small things that add up to the character and the integrity of you,
Mm. Do
right?
you have it? Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like this is part of your practice. Do you have and you've mentioned God as sort of this energy, or I don't even want to put the words into your mouth. Can you explain what your relationship is to God, to your spiritual practice, how you keep that present in your life to stay grounded and connected in the work you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So me, I believe in Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. So everyone doesn't, but I absolutely do.
Mhm,
And I pray when through the good and the bad.
mhm,
I say thank you for the good and the bad because I happen to believe
mhm,
that God already has your plan. Like your whole life is already done. On the other side of this thing, it's already done. Whatever you are going to be is already over there. And
mhm,
this thing called life that we navigate every single day, there's no need to worry, but we find ourselves in this worry cycle. And I find myself there too sometimes. You choose different paths that you go on. And sometimes life hits you so bad. But I believe that people are in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
Hmm.
And sometimes you choose them and sometimes you don't. Sometimes that momentary interruption in your life that this person came in, there were wins throughout the way. But then it's hurt as they leave. You
Hmm.
know, sometimes it's hurt. I have a person in my life right now actually who let me march this really carefully. But I have a person in my life right now where I feel sometimes like I know that this person shouldn't be in my life.
Hmm.
In the space that I have this person in my life. I know. But there's this nurturer in me that's not always great because I see the potential that this person has.
Hmm.
Now, here's the thing is that we're not, and I don't believe we're here to fix anybody. I'm not a fixer, but I
Hmm.
can see the potential that you have and I want to help you get to that place.
Hmm.
And that help to get to that place sometimes sacrifices yourself. So the thing that I'm working on is when on my change train that I open up the door and say it's okay that you leave. It's
Hmm.
okay because there are other people on my journey that I'm like, it's okay, goodbye. And I'll open up the door for them. But there's this, there's these people that come into your life that you see something in them and you're like, I want to help. And so the person that I am, the thing I'm working on is that God didn't put me here to help everybody. It's not even my job. But if I see something and I want to tell you the greatness that I see in you. So I just think we have to
Hmm.
know who we are, but
Yeah.
we also have to listen and know when it's time to kind of let go
Hmm.
because it could be impeding the blessings that we have for us. So for me, back to the question about faith is I know that God already has it. So when I get myself into a frenzy where I'm crying or I'm stressed out, I have to take a deep breath. I do. And I tell myself, guess what? It's already done. Like, what's the problem? It's already done.
Mm.
The
Mm.
hurt is there, yes. But if it's already done, then let's put our minds on something that we can actually control. Or
Right.
I might have to go out with a girlfriend. I might have to
Right.
go out with a guy friend. I might have to go out and hang out or
Yeah.
talk to somebody like you, get myself back grounded, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Or and it's not, it's all of it. It's also like, okay, what is the lesson that I'm meant to learn here? Like
Yeah.
we don't have to completely throw it away. There's so many layers within it. It's about I love that whole change train. It's like just shift detour because all the detours are in the right direction, even if they're painful.
Yes,
There is something there for us to learn if we choose to look at it that way. Um,
absolutely.
I love it so much. I'm so happy you're doing the work that you're doing in all of the ways because you are so incredibly powerful and can hold
Thank you.
space for all of the people willing to listen, whether it's a college student or a woman at a crossroads or wherever. So I'm so grateful for the work you're doing. Tell us quickly about the doctoral path that you're on because the expansion that you're moving into, or is it just deepening what you're doing at the moment? Yeah.
I think it is. I think it's deepening and expanding.
Yeah.
So I'm getting my PhD in entrepreneurship actually. But the specific path for my dissertation that I'm working on is around entrepreneurship. And what that is the difference is that this is about inside of an established organization already. And it's about cognition. So how does one think? How do employees think entrepreneurially when they are bounded by things like managerial influence or AI or policies and procedures versus an entrepreneur who doesn't have all of those things? It's just free creativity. So now it's about how am I thinking? How am I innovating? How am I really coming up and seeing things like opportunity recognition, about how we determine what risk is inside of an organization? And that's so fascinating to me. So
Wow.
when I say that it is like expanding, um, let me say, building on, because I work with employees within organizations, right? I work with leaders in organizations. And when I say expanding, it's because I'm expanding how I'm thinking, how they're thinking, and now how they're going to move differently for impact.
So you must be working with organizations that are, I mean, I would imagine organizations want the creators, want the innovators. So that's beautiful that the organizations you're working for are wanting this kind of work, wanting this kind of support. That's incredible. Is this a new term, intrapreneurship? I've not heard that before.
Oh, really? Okay. So, no, entrepreneurship is really a thing. I think that when we think about cognition within it, less is known about cognition and how employees think differently. So, that's the research where I'm tapping into, because that is what is going to be the contribution to not only scholarly work, but also practical work, like you and I are talking now. So, I'm in a dissertation phase right now. I'm writing, I'm going to be defending my proposal, writing my proposal, defending it, and then writing my dissertation and defending it. So I look forward to coming back once things are published and I'm good to go. And then I'm Dr. Walker, and then we can really talk in depth about
Ah!
it.
Oh my God. I'm so honored to be witnessing this incredible journey. I thank you so much for your expertise and your
Oh, thank you.
passion, truly your passion and the commitment that you have to this work. It's incredible. How can people find you and work with you?
Oh, that's awesome. Yes.
Hire
So,
you?
oh, yes. So, folks can go to Lolita, Lolita Walker, WALKER.com. And you can go on, you can see what I'm about, you can see the services that I offer. And I'm excited to work with anyone who feels as though we have a connection. I also have a consultation there that I just saw one come through right now, is that we can get on a call for 15 minutes and really talk about what your needs are and just make sure that this is a great fit. And if it's not, then that's okay too. I probably know someone who is a great fit. So, we just make things happen. Also, my Women's Weekend Renewal Retreats, which you've been a part of,
Oh my
right?
gosh, when is that happening?
Well, I pressed a pause after 11 of them. I pressed pause during the time where I'm getting my doctorate, but my goal is to have it in 2027. So keep your ears out.
Oh my gosh. Okay, you still have a newsletter? How can people hear about that? Just by following?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, they can go right on my website. Everything is there at lolitawalker.com. You
Great.
can also follow me at Hey Coach Walker on Instagram. And the newsletter's there too. So we'll be doing all things, getting it back up and popping in 2027. It's so funny because people ask me about it all the time, and it
It
is needed.
It was so special. I felt so honored to be there and to share my work with your community. It was incredible. And honestly, it was there, and before that, just how you lead with your authority, your intention, and from such a heart-centered place. I mean,
Oh,
it's
thank you.
beautiful. You really welcome people in such an incredible way. So anyone that's listening, check her out. Go to the retreat, do all the things Lolita. Absolutely.
Thank you,
Thank
Jen.
you
It's
so
so
much
good
for
to see you
being
again.
so good. Thank you everyone for being here. I'll see you next week on the Wisdom from Within podcast, where human stories awaken the leader from within. Absolutely. See you next week. If something in this conversation spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Send it to someone who might need that message too. You can also send me a comment, because I would love to know what it is that landed for you. But most importantly, take a moment to pause and listen to what it is that resonated, because that's where your real guidance system lives. The one you can trust, the one you can rely on. See you next week.